Welcome back to part 2 of the Charlie Puth monthly course. I will put a link below to part 1. You can check that out. But part 2 is called Exploring New Sounds and Styles. And this all centers around an uncomfortable song. So as you can see here, starting the uncomfortable song, writing melody and lyrics, fine-tuning the production, polishing and finishing song, and how to keep learning with Charlie. So I'll go through each section here for you. I didn't follow along with this monthly course by doing the projects and feedback. I just purely watched the content. If you want to know more about that, you can check out part 1 or the Ryan Tedder review. Just basically, I didn't like the format of it and how it was kind of how it worked. So anyways, so to go into number 1 here, starting the uncomfortable song. So had 40 minutes of content here with Charlie, and this all started when Pharrell, I don't think he said Williams, but he said Pharrell, so everyone kind of knows who you're talking about, told Charlie that you want to make a song that you wouldn't necessarily listen to. So, you know, things that you don't like necessarily. So what's that mean to Charlie? It means no drums, something that sounds whiny, something that's narcissistic, and he kind of goes from there. What would your uncomfortable song mean to you? I'm not sure what mine is, but let me know in the comments what that means to you. I'd love to hear that. But this literally starts out with Charlie. He jumps on he kind of starts out with some piano sounds, and then he jumps onto a whirly that he's got there, and just basically it's him pulling like faces of like, I hate this. This would really annoy me. I will play a little bit of so this is what Charlie started with.
Like, sounds like I dislike Broadway so much, so this is like, anytime I use a whirly, I like a lot of vibrato, but since we're making something that we don't really like, kind of unfortunately back it off a little bit. I gotta reward myself with something just a little more. Whiny, 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 whine. Maybe we should call it Wine Fest.
And this is how the song finished up.
But it's okay if you don't see it now, 'cause one day you'll know that everything comes back around. It's inevitable that everything comes back around. Everything comes back.
So yeah, after Charlie's, pulling some different faces, and he gets a little kind of like descending piano sound thing happening there. He says, he just really kind of mucks around, and he's really kind of vulnerable in this whole process. He chucks like a tremulator on the whirly, even though he took it off the actual one that he's got there. He mucks around with an electric harpsichord. Basically as well, for like an uncomfortable song for Charlie Puth, he says that's a simple track, minimal layers. He also doesn't normally write lyrics on the spot. He'll do that afterwards. But in this video, he kind of challenged himself to do that. He doesn't add any drums in this video. And yeah, basically writing lyrics on the spot, but also in front of people, makes Charlie uncomfortable. So you can't actually see in this video, but I'm assuming there's a production crew on the other side of the video, making Charlie, watching everything that he does. So that would be a little bit daunting, even if you are Charlie Puth. He uses different things. He uses in this is contact strings. He uses a mellotron on the strawberry flute sound, and he just kind of wants this, he said, to sound really washy. It literally said like a boat that's about to tip over. They're not scared, just inconvenienced. Mildly wet, but fine. And this is what he's kind of playing in the background with the piano and stuff. So that is the start of the Uncomfortable song. Next, Charlie moves on to writing the melody and lyrics. And he's centered around a everything comes back around lyric and vibe. He's also talks about kind of like wanting a throwback era, Stranger Things, 70s, 80s vibes. And yeah, it's clear that he genuinely doesn't like writing lyrics in front of people, but he's doing that as part of the learning process in the song. He rhymes inevitable in the song. And he also mentioned that he likes to work backwards from the chorus and then write the verse. So it just kind of lets you fill in the blanks is the analogy that he used. How do you like to write your songs? Mine changes depending on the song, but that definitely makes sense. Chorus and then filling in the blanks of the chorus around the verse. So I guess if I'm honest, I didn't gel with this second track as much as the first track, but that's just is what it is. When there's two, you're probably going to like one more than the other. If you did the course, which track did you like more? Charlie mentioned again in this video that it was unusual because of the film crew. He suggested, you could have people playing video games around you in the studio and just seeing, when they hear something, how they react to a different idea. He mentioned that he'd worked with Ty Dolla $ign before and that he liked to have friends in the studio while he was working just to see, their reaction to things and to not be too precious about things, because you never know what will come out. Charlie also mentioned that he likes to add delay to any long notes that he does. And I'll put in a screenshot here of the delay. So next we move on to fine-tuning the production after Charlie's got the lyrics and everything sorted. He mentioned, things that he would normally do is stack oohs and ahs, as we saw in the first kind of series of videos. But in this song, he tried to do it on single words instead of, phrases or having long legato passages behind a chorus or verse part. With harmonies as well, he said that he didn't want to overshadow the melody with kind of high notes in the harmony, so he tried to stay underneath the melody line. He used some plugins. He used as Waves, One Knob Pumper. He also used Omnisphere in this section. Japanese Schoolboy was one of the settings. He also mentioned that Pharrell uses this other one, which I will put a screenshot in here, and that's used to layer vocal harmonies. Once again, we see Valhalla make an appearance, which seems to be popular. So in this track, Charlie wanted to create rhythm, but without traditional kind of rhythm instruments or production techniques. So to do that, he used different things like One Knob Pumper on some keys and bass. He mentioned Phineas again, like he loves his work, especially on the Selena Gomez song To Love Me. He used a Weekend bass patch that he used side chaining on, EQ'd some of the brightness out of that, and also used the Neutron AI feature in there, which was cool. One tip that he had for making kicks not sound stagnant was go to Splice and find something with kind of vinyl in it, and he actually like a kick with vinyl in it, and he would add the front and the tail of the kick to an existing kick every so often. So, maybe every fourth time or every second time, just so there's that sound just sounds a little bit different every time, just to keep the listener engaged and not kind of bored, I guess. He also mentioned that he did this on the attention kick, which he said it's basically white noise that you're adding to existing kick sounds to mix it up a little bit. One thing that I found, I'm not sure if I'm taking crazy pills or what, but Charlie loves the big head number 2 snare from Splice, but I can't find it. Here's my Splice here, and you can see here from like big head sample pack and number 2 snare. Even if I go over here to select snares, oh, we don't want open. Sorry about that. A little bit of a trackpad typo. It is just not there. Not there at all. So I don't know if they've taken it down and Charlie bought it before, or if it's now called something different. But even if you put 2 in here in the filter, nothing. Big head, even number. Oop. Yeah, I've looked. I can't find it. Can you find it in Splice? If so, put it in the comments, please, because I'd like like the kick, just in my collection. Yeah, once again in here, Charlie, he used some session strings by Native Instruments. He quantized certain parts and not others, just depending on kind of how they feel. He used it was called OMG Ronnie 808 from Splice. So this one, yeah, there it is, OMG Ronnie 808. He used that. He dragged that directly into Contact, which I did not know you could do. So let me load up Contact here. I'll pretend like my computer is a beast and it's loaded now. And you can literally just drag it from here and then play it. I mean, I know you could do that in Logic. I just didn't know you could do it in Contact. I'm still a bit of a Contact noob. But yeah, that was cool. Thank you for teaching me that, Charlie Puth. But yeah, he dragged an OMG Ronnie 808 into Contact to use it for a loop. And he had added some lo-fi distortion on that 808 as well. And then after going back and listening to it, I'm pretty sure he deleted all the session strings and 808 from the song. He just thought it was too much and he was adding too much, so he got rid of it. So always do what's right for the song. And finally, we come to polishing and finishing song number 2. Charlie mentioned at the start of this that sometimes you think having less will make it easier to mix, but because there's only a couple of instruments in there, people are really listening to them. It's not in a Toto mix where there's hundreds of different instruments in there. Even though the Toto ones all sounded great, I'm not saying that. That's a whole other conversation and diss that I'm not making. Love you, Toto. But yeah, he just kind of said, if there's less things in the production, people are focusing more on those particular things. In this one, he heard an overtone and he was like, that's a G, and just kind of used Neutron to remove that overtone. This song doesn't have a rhythm section in it either, as I've mentioned before. So he uses a bell sound as a high percussive sound just to kind of help the track drive a little bit as well. For his vocals, he did try to use the Isotope Nectar AI suggestion, but he didn't like it, especially in the reverb. So he used Neoverb, which is a new plugin by Isotope, which you can see here. This is Isotope here. If you have it, what do you think of it? I have it, but I haven't used it a great deal as of yet, but I will at some stage in the future. He adds an API on some background vocals, just add a little bit of air. Lewis Bell, who also has a monthly course, who Charlie called Lou Bell, told him with a song sometimes you can cut it off just at the end to make the listener think that they've made a mistake and they want to go back and listen to it again, kind of like he referenced The Sopranos. So really pumped to look at the Lewis Bell course at some stage in the future as well. One interesting thing that Charlie did to this song, which I hadn't really heard of before, was once he'd finished the mix, he went back and he sped it up. And this was kind of, I think he said he learned this from Julian Bonetta. I may be pronouncing that wrong. But he did that on a lot of the early One Direction stuff, and Tears for Fears, Everyone Wants to Rule the World. They're just kind of sped up and pitched up just a little bit. So it's kind of like in between tones. So you're saying like it's kind of impossible to play along to just because it's sped up into that weird spot. So it'll never be exactly right. But he said with that being sped up, it will stand out more in playlists and kind of spark listeners' attention. So that wasn't a Charlie Puth pun intentionally, but it happened and I'm okay with it. And yeah, so that's kind of going through the second part of the Charlie Puth monthly course. Sorry, this one's a little bit late. It's just been a hectic couple of weeks. As Ryan Tedder did, Charlie finished with the How to Keep Learning section. And one story that he used, he said that he used to learn classical piano and he was learning Moonlight Sonata. And once he kind of had it down, his teacher said to him that, it's a lifetime piece of music. You don't just get good at it and stop doing it forever. And he kind of morphed this into his life by he gets up at 7 a.m. every day and listens to something completely random. And he said on this day, he actually listened to Bob Marley's whole catalogue. And not that he would make a reggae album, but just to kind of listen to different things that might spark interest, or, you know, he can take something that Bob Marley did and infuse that into his own productions. So in a nutshell, listen to random things and be a sponge. He said, just keep on listening and surround yourself with like-minded people. So that is the end of the Charlie Puth monthly course. So the 2 songs that he did, it was great. Charlie's really likable. He's chill in the studio, relaxed. He's funny. He makes fun of himself. He's not really kind of, you know, trying to put anything on or act super cool like he knows everything. He's just showing it, you know, behind the scenes of how he creates music. So it's really great. It's different to the Ryan Tedder monthly course. If you've done both courses, let me know in the comments what one you preferred. I've heard great things about all the monthly courses. Monthly's actually just started up something called Monthly Plus, which is it's $200 US for an annual membership, and that basically just gets you a discount off the monthly courses. So as you can see here, $279 down to $139 for these courses. There's a couple down here that are, you know, cheaper for different things. This isn't something really that I think I'll be doing, but clearly, you know, if you're wanting to do like 12 months of monthlies, this would pay for itself fairly quickly. I will probably do another monthly course in the future, but I just need to kind of start focusing on actually doing while continually learning. But yeah, I look forward to making some more videos about different things. If there's anything you'd like me to make a video about, let me know in the comments below. I also look forward to posting some new music soon, and I hope you're all well and safe, and yeah, making plenty of music. If you took any of the monthly courses, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be posting soon. Stay safe. Cheers.